Hey guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Okay, let's get right into this book tag video. So what happened was that the other day I did a book tag video, and I asked you guys, I was like, what are some book tags that you would love to see me do? I love doing book tag videos. They're like my favorite. I love doing book hauls. I love doing it all. Okay, so anyway, Amanda suggested that I do Chami's video. Chami from Read Like Wildflower. Read Like Wildflower. Read Like Wildflower. She's one of my, it keeps on sounding like I'm saying Read Like Wildflower. I swear, Chami, I'm not. Okay, but anyway, she's like one of my favorite booktubers. And she did this original tag called I Am a Guilty Reader. And are you? I already know that I am. So, Amanda suggested that I do it. And if Amanda tells me to do it, then I'm going to do it. Because Amanda, I do what you tell me to do. So let's get right into this. Number one, have you ever regifted a book that you've been given? Not really. I'm not much of a book regifter. I'm just not. But a couple years ago, I really wanted, this is kind of a stupid story, but I really wanted the Kindle Fire, with the new edition of it. And I don't love to read on the Kindle either. I have one, you'll find out how. And, but I always read it on my phone if I read on a Kindle. So I got it, and I got it for my husband, because I thought, well, maybe if he has a Kindle, like, he'll like to read even more, because he's real technological. He didn't, and I gave it to him for Christmas, and he's like, you can just take this back and buy something else for yourself with it, because I don't want it. And I was like, oh, well, I'll just keep it for myself then. So I kind of regifted the gift that I gave him. Does that make sense? If you're in a marriage, you'll totally know what I'm talking about. This is how it works. You like buy your partner something that you really want, and then you end up getting it, and it just totally works out that way. Okay, number two, have you ever said, there's no numbers on here, first of all, because I'm an idiot, so I'm like reading numbers where there aren't any. Have you ever said you've read a book when you haven't? Have I ever said I've read? I'm sure I have, because when you're like, I don't know, I used to think I was like so bohemian and intellectual. I mean, now I really am. But back in the day, I like really thought I was, right? I mean, as you get older, you really don't give a shit what people think about you. So like if somebody said to me, like, have you read, you know, James Joyce's Ulysses, I would have been like, oh yeah. Like today I would have been like, fuck no. But anyway, so I don't know, like what's a book that I would have said that I read that I haven't read? I don't think so. I don't really, like not recently. I can't think of anything. Number three, have you ever borrowed a book and not returned it? Okay, so here's a little rule for you guys, okay? Don't ever lend me a book. If you lend me a book, you will never get it back. And I don't borrow books from people. I don't say to people, oh, I really want to read that. Could you give it to me? Like if they give it to me, I'm just like, can I have it? Because I don't return books. And in fact, a friend of mine loaned me a book legit like 2 years ago. And he was like, well, two friends actually. One, she was like, this is my all-time favorite book. It's sitting up in my cabinet over there. And the second one, he was like, this is like my favorite book. I really want you to read it. And both of them are just not things that I would typically read, but I like really wanted to read them for them. Do you guys ever do that? And they're both, I have saved them both in very special spots. So like if they say, hey, can I have my book back now, dude? You've had it for 2 years. I have it. But like, I feel bad that I haven't read the book. I probably should just go buy copies of those books, and then I can just give them back, right? And then they can say, have you read that? I was like, oh yeah, it was such a good book. And then I would be able to answer that question before differently. Okay, number four, have you ever read a series out of order? Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so. I'm not a big series reader anyway. PP is sitting right here. He is cracking me up. PP, you want to say hi to everybody? Hello, everybody. PP, have you ever read a series out of order? He said, I just hated those Lemony Snicket books. They just confuse the hell out of me, all them numbers. He doesn't get things like that. I don't think I have. Maybe. I'm not a big series reader. I don't love to read series. But if I am going to read a series, like if I'm going to go into like Twilight or something like that, or like I'm reading the Harry Potter books now, like it would be very important for me to read book one. Like I wouldn't read the rest if I hadn't read book one. Does that make sense? Okay, number five, have you ever spoiled a book for someone? Well, no, and I'm very, very weird about that. Like, if you watch any of my reviews, they're completely 100% spoiler-free. I cannot stand that stuff, all right? But I'm horrible when it comes to TV shows and movies. Like, when my husband and I are sitting here and I've watched a TV show or whatever, like this just happened with 13 Reasons Why. He came down and he was like on episode 9, he was watching upstairs in our bedroom. And I go, what do you think? He's like, this is really intense. He was like, I can understand why a lot of people have issues with it. And I go, oh, wait till you get to the last episode. And he goes, what happens in the last episode? I go, well, I mean, you know what's going to happen. I'm so bad with it, right? So and he had no clue because he hadn't read the book. And I'm like, well, I mean, you can kind of see what it's building up to, right? But like I always, or if we're sitting there, I'll be like, like if we're watching a TV show, I'm like he loves Real Housewives of any county. And I watch them and I love like Atlanta and I think like Beverly Hills. The rest of them I don't really like. But I'm not a diehard fan. Like if I've seen the episode already, I'll be like, oh, this is a really good part. And he'll go, don't say that to me. I'm like, why? I just said it was a good part. I just wanted you to pay attention and get off your phone and quit looking at memes on Instagram. So anyway, but I don't do it for books. I'm very weird about that. Because like if you invest 3 days in a book or 3 weeks or 3 months, sometimes like me, and then somebody ruins it for you, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. Don't you think so? I think so. Okay, have you ever doggy-eared a book? Okay, so here's the deal. I just have to say, this is so funny. Somebody commented, there's always a word that I say, right? And like I'm so excited or whatever. Somebody commented in my last book video, they said, you said okay so many times it felt like a John Green book. I love that. I don't even realize I say, okay, like, okay. And I apologize. I will probably say it 9 million times more. But anyway, so, okay. But anyway, I used to be very like weird about this. If you go back and you watch some of my first BookTube videos, I said that I always used to bookmark. I never dog-ear books. I never like push them down. I never when I am done with a book, it looks exactly like how I bought it. I cannot say that today. And we recently went to Mexico and I read Big Little Lies. I've talked nonstop about it. By Leanne Moriarty. And I was by the pool, water splashing on it. I'm pushing it down. I would like put it, face down. And I really felt like I absorbed it, like eating a really juicy piece of fruit. I know that's a horrible analogy, but it was. And it almost made the enjoyment factor of reading the book, like, better. So, at this point, I probably would. I'm very weird about dog-earing books, though. I just am, because like when I'm like reading a book that somebody's given me, which doesn't happen very often, but if I go to like Half Price Books and I buy a book and it's been dog-eared, I'm always like, well, what are we coming up on? Like what happened that they dog-eared it? And then a lot of times if I read that page and it's dog-eared and there's like nothing on there, I'm like, well, did they just randomly dog-ear it here? Or is this like where they left off or what's going on? And I really almost get more consumed with the story of the past reader. Is this crazy or do you guys think this way? Than I do with the actual book itself. So, I don't typically dog-ear books. Have you ever told someone you don't own a book when you do? No, and she said in the video it's because like if somebody asks her to borrow a book, she doesn't want to give it away. She's like, I don't know you, it's a trust issue. I don't do that. I don't think I've ever done that. No, I don't think I've done that before. Have you ever told someone you haven't read a book when you have? No, I'm not embarrassed of the books I read, and I never really have been. Even like, it's interesting if I mention James Patterson in any of my videos, there's always like 5 or 6 people that say, I love James Patterson. Okay, well, I have at your gig. James Patterson to me is 391 pages always of formula writing, and the mystery is always exactly the same. But back in the day, I was obsessed with his books. Like, I had to go get them, and I think it was because I went through this period of I just wanted to escape mentally, and I could literally read a James Patterson book in 2 days, and I've read like almost the entire Alex Cross series up till like 3 years ago, or that's not true, 5, 6 years ago. Because I just, like, Tanya, my friend, she'd always buy them, or I'd buy them at the grocery store, and I'd be like, oh, I cannot believe I just paid $20 for another one of these books. So I don't do that anymore, but I've never been embarrassed of saying, nobody should be embarrassed of saying that they've read a book, ever. Like, ever, I just think, like, we're reading, we're enjoying reading, and we read for ourselves, not for anybody else, you know what I mean? Okay. Have you ever skipped a chapter or a section of a book? Oh, yes. Okay, I skim books like crazy when I've read them for a really long time and I can't get them done. And I feel bad about it, but like recently I skimmed The Mistletoe Secret by Richard Paul Evans. It was a good book. It was fine for a Christmas book. But I skimmed like the last half of it because I was like, I have just got to get this book done. I skimmed probably the last half of Ellen Hopkins' Traffic because I didn't remember a lot of it, and so there were characters that I didn't love, and so when it was their chapter, I just would kind of skim over it because I wanted to get the book done because I was literally reading 7 or 8 books at the same time. Now that I'm caught up, I don't do that. Like if I'm in 1 or 2 books, I stay in 1 or 2 books. And strangely enough, like if I'm listening to an audiobook, like I'm listening to Six of Crows right now, I get so confused in that book. Do y'all get confused in that Six of Crows? I mean, the names alone would just confuse you. But anyway, so like if I'm like 2 minutes ahead and all of a sudden I'm thinking about like, oh, I want pizza for dinner tonight, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, they're talking about Ketterdam and the ice castle. I'm like, what are they talking about? And I rewind it like 5 minutes, and sometimes I go back and I listen to the same part over and over and over again because I don't want to like miss it, you know? So on Audible, I never skim. Have you ever badmouthed a book you actually liked? Okay. I have never badmouthed a book I actually liked. I'm always 100% honest about how I feel about a book. I will say this. Joey Graceffa, who is one of my all-time favorite YouTubers, wrote Children of Eden, and it's ghostwritten with somebody else. He apparently came up with the ideas. I have dogged that book for the last year because I have huge issues with somebody ghostwriting a fiction book. And we know Zoe Sugg did it and all that kind of stuff. But like, I just have huge issues with it, okay? To me, it's very much like a fashion designer putting fashions out on the runway and calling it their own when somebody else designed all of it. They didn't have anything to do with it, and they just put their name on it. Like, I have huge issues with that, okay? Because for me, we're talking about creative content. It's not like ghostwriting a nonfiction memoir where you have somebody help you with the actual writing process and you tell them your story and they transcribe it into a book. And then it says, Peter Monn's autobiography, The Wonderful Life, you know, co-written with John Smith. It's not that. It's somebody else writing this fictional world and you putting your name on it. I have never read the book, and I probably should because a lot of people are like, I love this book. And a lot of people love Girl Online by Zoe. So, you know, I have kind of an issue with the whole ghostwritten fiction books. But maybe I should give it a try. I don't know. Has anybody read Children of Eden? I haven't heard wonderful, amazing things about it. I've heard a couple people really liked it. So, but other than that, no, I've never badmouthed a book that I haven't read, and I feel like I kind of have some reason for doing that. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a try. I don't really want to buy the book. If I saw the book at Half Price Books for $1, I would get it and go, okay, let's give old Joey a try, you know? But anyway, I think that's it for all of my answers. That was a really fun tag. I love doing tag videos. If you guys have a tag video you want to see me do, put it in the comment section below. If you have any books that you think I need to read right now, please put it in the comment section below. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.